Or was that a mandatory draw? I'm not sure. I may have had the Baltic in hand already. Seeing a next dice, which I'm going to install. Take a credit. And I'm giving some thought here as to... I'm just going to take some money. Okay, pass the turnover. I can always Baltic out. Probably should have taken the opportunity there to install that House Ecology, maybe advance it once. Get a cheeky Vitruvius scored and leave the Baltic in hand. I think maybe not the strongest player there. I've got the cash, and he's not particularly making me res any ice here, so I probably could have got a little bit more aggressive with scoring. Always got to be aware of the inside job. I certainly wouldn't want to have installed the agenda there, because inside job is definitely in most criminal decks, but at the same time it's relatively risky. He's going to play Crypsis, not a card you see very often for 5. But it does mean now he can pretty much guarantee his siphons, which is the point. He's going to put a Crypsis counter on, he's going to click the KT. So siphon here is a real problem, and I should probably be thinking about double icing HQ with that, or trying to... I think I probably should Biotic out here and just use the money I've got, because it ain't going to last. I've got no assets to soak it up, but I'm going to do what I should have done last turn, which is install the House Ecology and double advance it. I think this is a misplay here because, with the Crypsis with one counter on the board, a count siphon is gonna happen. He's going to put another 3 on Katie, I believe. Oh no, sorry, he's going to take mine off daily casts, so bear with me. So plenty of cash still, certainly enough to get through whatever may be there on HQ, although we do know it's a wraparound, so Crypts is not ideal for getting through that, to say the least. So he's got all 4 clicks. He's definitely going to think about account siphoning here. But again, seeing the Crypsis, I do recall now, I forgot there I had the wraparound on HQ, so not too worried about the account siphon, because it's going to cost him an absolute blooming fortune to get through. So that's why I didn't panic there. Completely forgot I had that wonderful card of wraparound in the deck. And with 2 tokens, he's got to assume that's probably an efficiency committee. It could be an aggressive secretary. He's only got 1 program out, which is a Crypsis, so it's an investment. He won't want to lose it. It's just about how aggressive here he gets against it more than anything else. And again, I've got next dice on it, so it's only like a 1 strength code gate, which isn't particularly ideal. So he's just given some thought here as to whether he wants to go in and take that remote out. I've probably given him a little bit too much temptation there, I think. But again, House Ecology is a good way of sneaking out a cheeky agenda here or there when runners aren't particularly confident about running on advanced cards, particularly when they know you've got aggressive secretaries in the deck, which a lot of HB decks do pack. It certainly makes the runner uncertain. Generally, I wouldn't ever play a House Ecology out without programs on the board. It's just not worth it then. They will almost certainly run it because the worst that can happen is net damage, really. And that's not the end of the world. He's going to clear KT, which is a surprise at this stage. Got to wonder what he's looking to try and go and do. Again, I'm pretty sure I've seen an account siphon in hand. And I'm sat on a decent amount of credits there. He's going to have a look at that remote. I'm not going to res it, so I'm going to try and bluff out here and see if he accesses, which he does. But I was trying to bluff out there the aggressive secretary. I didn't want to pay 2 for the code gate breaker. I probably could have, just to make him use his Crypsis counter. But I didn't really want to. I wanted to try and bluff that there and see if he was going to still access, which he did, and it was the right decision. I would have scored an easy agenda, would have been nice. So 3rd click, giving it some thought. This is definitely a key turn here. No res dice currently. I'm good. Sat on still on a good pile of credits. I'm going to res the wraparound, and he is more than welcome to pay the 8 credits to get through that with the Crypsis counter, if he wishes. Funnily enough, he doesn't. So he'll bounce off that, and he'll install the same old thing. So I'm already thinking here he's setting up for the Siphon. I'll draw, seeing an ABT, taking me up to 4 points in hand. And I know that remote isn't safe anymore. Crypsis does wreck it somewhat. And I think, yeah, I'm concerned about having that many points in hand, so I am going to Bartic Labour. I'm going to install the ABT and score it out. I'm not going to trigger it. I'm going to pass the turn over. It's just more a case of being concerned that he was going to get very aggressive against the HQ there with account siphons and the like. But what I have done, unfortunately, is left R&D wide open, which I probably shouldn't have done. He's going to play an R&D interface, in fact, so that was quite possibly the worst thing I could have done here. And he is going to run R&D. I can't res any ice, there's nothing there to res. He's going to run, he's going to score an ABT, and he's going to score another ABT. Or that's an efficiency committee, I think. That'll take him to 4 points. He runs, sees a snare, I can't trigger it, runs again, sees a Jackson Howard, which will trash for 3, and that quite possibly was the worst. And it goes again, sees a Gillerhands, and sees another Gillerhands, taking him to 6 points in one turn. So, you know, yeah, not much I could do about that. If I had the money to trigger the snare, I'd draw up there to an efficiency committee, so there was another agenda on top there. It just seems to be the nature of my luck at the moment with my my corp decks. That is, you know, giving up a heck of a lot of agendas. I think there were like 4 or 5 agendas there in a row, and I drew up 2 of them. So yeah, it's this is not the position you want to be in. He's got a Crypsis counter still on Crypsis. He's got plenty of money behind it. I'm going to install. I'm going to take 2 credits, and yeah, struggling here, definitely struggling. So he's 1 more point to win. Both of my Gillerhands are gone, so all that's left is 2 pointers in the deck. I'm sat on 2. He's sat on a rather marvellous 6. I cannot res. Well, I can res the Neural Katana, but he's got 2 counters on Crypsis. I think it was another next piece of ice on top of the Neural Katana, so not much good. He'll run. See a Hazard AI, which I don't think he's going to trash, which is a surprise. And he'll pay to get through the Neural Katana to do so, which is fine. He's going to draw and see the Crypsis, and so that's a real problem already now, which means he's got free reign and free access there in HQ, in which I have 4 points of agendas. I'm going to install the Adonis I just drew, take a credit, and then take another 2 credits, so still not in range to res that Adonis. Pass the turn over. There's not much else I can do now at this stage. The Crypsis has really, really wrecked me, even with a wraparound on HQ. But you know, here comes. He's going to draw, see another Katie Jones. Not what he needs. But he's got the Corroder to be able to put the pressure on HQ. He's going to see a Fem. Not much you can do with that either. He's still sat on 5 credits. He's going to put 3 on Katie. And I'm certainly being granted here a turn's reprieve, you might say, but unfortunately not enough to be able to res that Adonis and try and make some headway. But you know, with that Katie doing down and doing good work, it's unlikely that I'll be able to see what I need. See another Neural Katana. Again, I need to end the run ice here, not that. And HQ is loaded now. 4 points of agendas. Any one of them wins in the game. On the one hand, I don't want to decrease my hand size particularly, but on the other, I need to try and protect what I've got. He's already got 1 counter on Crypsis. I'm going to install, just for the credit really more than anything else. And I'm going to take 2. And this is just to try and stabilise my position. Oh, sorry, I'm going to advance once. I can't remember what that is actually, whether that's a house ecology or whether that's an efficiency committee. I don't think I'd be so bold as to play an efficiency committee, but that's the aggressive secretary. I tell a lie. That's the AgSec, which I'd installed really just for tempo's sake to try and gain an extra credit, with the idea that I could try and bluff out that it's an efficiency committee. He's going to play the Corroder. is going to account siphon. So already that's an issue, but I'm going to res the Adonis. And I just realised here, as soon as I've done that, I did it automatically and without thinking, and the smarter play there was to let him take the money. And I realised that as soon as I did it, that giving him an access in HQ was a bad idea. You know, it's just kind of like the automatic autopilot there, where I was like, oh, he's account siphoning, oh, I've got an asset down, I'll res it, fantastic. Oh, wait. Now he's got a 50% chance of winning the game. Yeah, not great, not so hot. So, you know, great R&D accesses there for Neil, but at the same time, a couple of key misplays there on my part, and we split the round. I should probably mention at this stage that Neil actually goes on to win the tournament comfortably. In fact, the only game he lost was the game against me, where I played Chaos Theory. I'm just going to throw that out there because it makes me feel better about myself, and hopefully you appreciate the level of competition, if nothing else. So that was round 2. Hope to see you again for round 3.